All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to a very special Sunday morning edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Big Marcel. Marcel, Sunday, October 9th, 2022. I wasn't expecting to do it Sunday, but last week when they were saying on Monday, I completely spaced that it's Thanksgiving here, so I'm going to be with my family. So I appreciate you changing the show. Apologies to the listeners who were planning on watching on Monday. I completely spaced on that. That's my fault. But yeah, I'm not going to be around tomorrow, so that's what happened there. But glad to be here, Marcel, with you on Sunday. How's everything going, my man?
Everything is going well, man. I always miss. People are always complaining when the UFC has too many events, but I miss the UFC when there is a week without UFC. You know what I mean? I've watched some Glory yesterday, but it doesn't feel fulfilled. You know what I mean? I miss a UFC event. I also watched some CFFC, which is also nice, but I miss the UFC when it's not around on a week. It's like the perfect end of the week. Watching some MMA, talking about some MMA, high level MMA. So yeah, that's basically how I feel.
Fully agreed, my man. But I'm glad we're here today. Going to break down UFC Vegas 62, Grasso versus Araujo. The only major MMA card. There's also an LFA card, but that's about it. There's no Bellator PFL this week. All right, Marcel, I say we just get into it, and as
For
people join
sure,
in,
man.
they can chime in what they're going to say. I just want to ask you a question quickly. Does Joe Anderson Brito have an opponent, or has he been taken off the card, or what do you know?
He posted yesterday, I think, that see you guys in 7 days, but there is no news yet. I haven't seen any news. I haven't found out any news, so I don't know, man. He's probably thinking he's fighting. Maybe he already knows who he's fighting, but if he doesn't know, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, he's a featherweight, right? So there should be enough people who want to fight him because I think he's close to top 15 somewhere, top 20, top 15 with that quick win over Andre Feely last time out. I think. I don't know for sure, but I think he's around top 20, top 25 maybe. So I would assume some fighters would jump on that opportunity. Even fighters in the UFC and also fighters outside the UFC would jump on that opportunity.
Mhm.
So I'd be shocked if they don't find an opponent for him, to be really honest. But you never know.
Yeah, and at this point, we don't know who that would be. So I say we just get into the fights that we do know, who we're going to be seeing fight. Just, I always ask you this, but your overall thoughts on the card before we get into it. What do you think?
It's a good card, man. I mean, overall the top three fights are very good in my opinion. I think the fight between Raphael Assuncao and Victor Henry deserves to be on the main card, in my
Yes.
opinion. But overall, it's a fun card. It's nothing like amazing huge, I think, but it's a fun card definitely for the hardcore fans. You got a very important women's main event where one of the winners can face Valentina Shevchenko in the near future. I think we still have maybe a rematch with Taylor Santos over there, but still. And you got Askarov Royval, which is a big fight as well at 125. And I would love to, and I think it's amazing to see Cap Swanson cutting down to 135, fighting Martinez.
Right.
So got some fun matchups, and I'm always looking forward to it. But a big bummer, of course, with Magny Rodriguez getting scrapped and getting to rebook for November 5th. And yeah, I wonder how they're going to fill that one up. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully soon.
For sure. George, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so we were supposed to do it Monday, like I was saying, but I have Thanksgiving tomorrow. So I figured we got out of the way now. And also, I know a lot of the people that listen are watching football afternoon, so I didn't want to do it then. So I just figured it'd be a good time to get out of the way now. Appreciate Marcel joining us. What's up, Moise? How's it going, man? Glad to have a few people in the chat. Obviously, like I said, different time today, but it is what it is. It's just again, it's a special occasion. Tomorrow, it's a holiday here, it's Thanksgiving, so need the day off. I just completely spaced about it last week when we were doing our sign offs. I should have remembered that. Anyways, all right, let's get into these fights, Marcel. Let's say we start breaking them down. Sounds good to you?
Yeah, for sure, man, for
We
sure.
got Worth in the chat as well. Glad to have you here, man. Glad to have all you guys here for the morning show here, morning edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. All right, let's get into the first fight here. We got Mike Jackson taking on Pete Rodriguez. Oh my god. Geez. Right now, Marcel minus 660 Pete Rodriguez, plus 490 Mike the Truth Jackson. I mean, what's your pick in this one, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, and I have listen, man. I know people hate always on Mike Jackson, and I wouldn't say he's my favorite fighter, but still, I don't have anything against him. He fought Pete Rodriguez. Pete got a horrible first fight, a debut against Jack De La Maddalena, which he took on short notice. I mean, you can lose that fight, and he was only 4-0 coming into the UFC. You know, I mean, if Pete wants to do something in this division, he needs to win against Mike Jackson. As simple as that. You know, Mike Jackson, not amazing in what he does. I think he's just pretty basic. I like I said, I don't want to shit on the guy. I'm taking Rodriguez here. I think he finishes early as well. Probably TKO first round.
Yeah, you can't pick Mike Jackson here, right? Like the odds are a little crazy to be honest with you because the guy has like no experience, Piera Rodriguez, and he looked terrible, right? But again, fought really good competition. Jack Della Maddalena. I honestly don't know what to think about Mike Jackson. Like that fight was with Dean Barry was just really weird, right? Like
Yeah.
he didn't really win. It was more Dean Barry lost the fight for himself. Mike Jackson didn't really win the fight. You don't really win by eye poking, getting eye poked. Yeah, Marcel, I would completely pass on this fight if I was you guys. Like my pick is Rodriguez by TKO. I guess that would be the only thing I'd look for. But even that, I would assume there's too many juice. So
too many unknowns in this fight, right?
Just a weird fucking fight, man. Honestly, like, it's just very, very bizarre. You expect the loser to get cut from this one?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, and definitely if it's Jackson, you know, the UFC is looking to cut Jackson for a long time. In my opinion, I think, you know, and they had to keep him probably on the roster because that fight with CM Punk got no, actually not. He won that fight.
He
With
had won the
Punk.
fight and then it got overturned because he smoked weed. Yeah,
it's just like I don't know. Well, I think they brought him back last time to give Dean Barry a good opportunity to get his first win because Dean Barry was also very inexperienced in his MMA career, and then Jackson got the win via DQ. So if he loses, they'll cut him. I think, you know. I don't think they give him a new contract. This is his fourth fight on his contract, right? I think.
Right.
I don't think they keep him, but we'll see. You know, maybe listen, man. If Mike Jackson wins, they maybe cut them both. You know, I wouldn't be surprised with that. But yeah, we'll see.
No, that's possible. You're right. I mean that fight, he kept staying in the roster for 4 extra years. I'm assuming this is the fourth fight in his deal, the last fight in his contract. That's my guess.
Yeah.
What's up, A-Local? Glad to have you here, man. Yeah, the Sunday ones are good, but it's just tough because I have a lot going on right now. But today I was able to do it with Marcel, so I'm happy to do it with you, Ben. All right. Go ahead.
Sundays were really convenient when it was like in the summer when we
it's a little different now. We have other things going on, like you said, Marcel. So, but we try to do the best that we can for everyone, you know. But we have two different, completely different time zones that we have to deal with. It's not easy, right? You saw like you live down the street, Marcel. Like be like, hey, let's go do this show.
Yeah. If we live close together, we could have doing together on a table.
That would be awesome.
You know?
I would actually love that. That'd be sick. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, let's get to the next fight. I'd say here, man. We got CJ Vergara against Tatsuro Taira, and this fight is obviously in the UFC lightweight division. Marcel, this is a good one. I like this fight. This is one of the better fights. This one also, Marcel, I think could be higher up in the card. They buried this one.
So I'm surprised. Flyweight. They always want to bury flyweight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but Taira, man, is special. I think. He is minus 230. Vergara plus 195. Let me start with this one.
Yeah.
I like Taira in this fight, Marcel. I like him quite a bit in this fight, to be honest with you. Like, I think this line is generous, if anything. I kind of think he should be minus 300. I think this guy's really good, man. Obviously, he never lost yet. Listen, his UFC debut was it's not the greatest performance, but it was solid, right? Like he mostly dominated that fight, but he did give up some key like sweeps and stuff that a young fighter would. He's only 22, right? Undefeated though, so much experience now. Like, this is his 12th fight, and he also had a bunch of amateur experience. Again, and Candelario is not like a scrub or anything. Like he's not a bad fighter, right? And he still won the fight. Vergara, I don't think he won that fight, his last fight against Clayton. Like, he definitely showed some improvement. I don't think he won, and then obviously Osborne, he lost. Definitely a dangerous guy, got a lot of knockout power. We've seen that, Marcel, but Taira's never lost. I just feel like Taira's going to be like the superior grappler here and win the fight on the ground. I think he could take Vergara down and control him on the ground and either win decision or maybe submit him, but probably decision. But I think he wins this fight, guys. I really like him here in this spot. Give me Tatsuro Taira, like I said, submission, decision, either one of those I think happens here. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. I wonder if Taira is the guy who finally can get after that Japanese curse in the UFC, right? Where very talented Japanese fighters are coming, but they can't make a splash in the division. I think Taira showed me in the first fight that he's a very talented guy. If you look at Vergara, I don't think he won his last fight against Clayton Rodriguez, like you said as well. He got the split decision there, lost to Ode Osborne before. Looked very promising on contender series, I think, but rate Taira higher. You know what I mean? I think Taira. I was on the fence in his first fight with Candelario. I picked him. I think in the second time. I think they were scheduled before. Then I picked Candelario, and then that fight didn't happen because of weight stuff or something, and then they rebooked it. And then I picked Taira the second time. You were always on Taira, I think.
Right.
And yeah, I'm on Taira again here, man. I think he wins. I think he wins a unanimous decision. I really like what I saw from him in the first fight, and it wasn't maybe super decisive what he did, but it was good enough, you know. And for a debut, his first fight in the UFC, it was pretty solid, I think. So yeah, I'm picking Tatsuro Taira winning by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen too. How do we break the card? Like an 7 or 8, something like that. Like, is that kind of what you're thinking?
7, yeah.
Good morning, fellas. What's up, Odd Smoker? Glad to have you here, man. All right, so we both have a consensus pick there. Let's go to the next one here. Piera Rodriguez against Sam Hughes in the women's strawweight division. And Rodriguez right now is the favorite here, minus 190. Sam Hughes plus 160. Go ahead.
Piera La Fiera Rodriguez. Yeah, I mean, I like what I saw from her against Kay Hansen. You know, the thing was with she was stronger, but also, man, Kay Hansen had also her moments in that fight. You know, if you look at Sam Hughes, her last fight, super dominant, super good against Elise Reed. You know, and I think you called that fight actually, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I think Sam Hughes looked really good in that fight, and you saw her improvements by training at the Fortis MMA. Last 2 fights, she looked a lot better. She lost her first 3 UFC fights. She's now 2-3, but she looked very much better in the last fights. If you look at Piera Rodriguez, she won the title in LFA, then got the opportunity to fight in the contender series against Tina Black, Velasca Machado. One of the better fights, women fights, I think, on the contender series that year. You know, maybe
Right.
in its total for the women. You know, and I think Velasca also deserved to get signed from that fight, but Piera got signed because she won. And yeah, like I said, she had a solid debut against Kay Hansen. I think it's a closer fight than many people think. I think Rodriguez is a favorite, but I think if Sam Hughes can implement her game as she did last time, she has a good chance here as well. Still, I'm picking Rodriguez here to get it done. A close decision, I think.
Yeah. You're picking Rodriguez by decision. That's kind of what I'm leaning to, but I honestly think this one could go either way, Marcel, because I do see those improvements on Sam Hughes, which I talked about in the last fight, and like I think she's getting better, right? Personally,
Absolutely.
And obviously training was safe, right? Like I think that's helping her a lot, and she has fought some good competition in the UFC. Like I don't think she's a bad fighter. I think her record's a little misleading. Rodriguez looked good though, right? I thought against Kay Hansen. I did bet on that fight. She looked great, I thought. Again, you know, Kay is not UFC caliber. She's not in the UFC anymore, right? So it's hard to like take a lot away from that. That's the problem I have here, right? But I remember doing the tape study for that fight and being pretty impressed by her. So I'll stick with my read. I think the girl's good. I think she wins the decision here. But again, Sam Hughes is pretty scrappy in game. I think it could be a close fight. Yeah, it is early today, man. What's going on? But again, it's a Thanksgiving weekend here. I had to get it out of the way at some point, and I just really want to spend time with my family because that's what it's for, right? Bookies are disrespecting Sam Page again. Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think this fight's very close. I think it's more like a pick'em fight.
Yeah.
You guys know how Piera went from Venezuela training in Sweden to LA. Not sure. Do you know anything about that?
She probably took a plane, but no, I'm just kidding. I don't. I have no idea, man. No idea.
Oh my God, Marcel's being a dick this morning. That's funny.
I'm just kidding, dude.
All right, let's get to the next fight here. Raphael Assuncao against Victor Henry, and this fight should be on the main card. Like, why is this appearing in the prelims? Tell me why. Like, Assuncao was top 15 for like years, and obviously Henry is a guy who could be in the top 15. He's very good, so this fight should be way higher. Victor Henry's a big favorite here, minus 330. Assuncao plus 275. Let me start on this one too, Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
Really like the fight. Great fight. Man, I mean, Victor Henry looked amazing, right, against Raoni Barcelos. Like, what a performance. Especially after Raoni, like, that dominant performance against Trevin Jones in his last fight. Like, that looks even better, in my opinion. The guy looked fantastic, man. I don't think a lot of us were expecting that, but he is a guy with, you know, close to 30 fights. He is a guy in his mid-30s. Like, he's been UFC ready for a while, and he showed it in that fight that he's ready to be here. And he's good. Assuncao obviously struggled lately, 4 straight losses, 2 really good competition, though. And has been one of the best bantamweights in the world for years and has so many good wins on his resume. Like, he used to be one of the most underrated fighters in the sport, and obviously now he's really hit a decline spot at age 40, but he can still win a fight here or there. I'm picking Victor Henry, Marcel, but I can't help but think the line feels a little high because of Assuncao's experience against elite competition and his wins. At the same time, though, he is 40, right? And he hasn't looked very good lately. So I can't pick him. Here, I have to pick Victor Henry because of how good he looked in his last fight. But again, the odds are pretty hefty. Like, Victor Henry was a big underdog in his debut, and now all of a sudden he's a huge favorite. That always makes me kind of worried a little bit. Like, he was plus 350 against Barcelos. Now he's minus 350 basically. So just something to keep in mind. I'm still picking him to win the fight, but don't really see a ton of value here in that massive money line. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I know Josh Burnett didn't came after me this time for the fight announcement pick I used for Victor Henry. Yeah, I mean, he had a great debut, right, against Leone Barcelos. I remember when I posted picture, many people were like, is this guy crazy taking on Barcelos? And then he wins in a great fight. Assuncao lost his last 4 fights against, like you said, against good competition, against ranked guys, besides Cody Garbrandt, but Cody is a former champion. Yeah, I'm not going to pick Assuncao, man. I have a lot of respect for the dude. Has been like a top fighter for years in the bantamweight division. Now, finally hit that that decline, in his career where he's 40 and more difficult to keep track with these younger guys. I think. I'm taking Victor Henry here. I'm going with the decision. I think Assuncao is still very tough. I think that Henry wins the fight, and I feel like it's a little bit high as well. The odds here. I mean, Assuncao is no slouch, and he lost to legit competition. So taking Henry, but expecting a fun fight.
Pretty much how I see it too. All right, let's get to the next one here. We have Nick Maximov taking on Jacob Malkoun. This is the most exciting fight of the year. No, I'm just joking. This fight's going to be, I think, really boring. But odds for this one: Nick Maximov minus 145, Jacob Malkoun plus 125. Let me jump in on this one first too. We've been mostly picking the dogs or the favorites. I like the dog in this one, Marcel. Like, I think Jacob Malkoun matches up decently well with Nick Maximov. Personally, like I thought he beat Brendan Allen. I really did, and that looks a lot better now, even though he lost the fight. The fact it was that razor close, taking him down those times. Like the guy's he's a wet blanket. He's a human blanket, and he does good at it. Like he's averaging almost 7 takedowns a fight in over 4 fights. Like the guy just knows how to make a fight boring. Like Nick Maxwell, obviously the same thing. Like he's pretty much the same guy, but I don't know, man. I think Malkoun is a little better personally. Like I know that Maxwell's a little bigger. That's one worry, but again, I just look at that Brendan Allen fight. Like, man, if he could do that to Brendan Allen and control him on the ground for a lot of the fight and take him down like that, I feel like he could do the same thing to Maxwell. And Petrosky just showed that you could sub this guy. Like, yeah, he's a good grappler, but he's not amazing. And then the Brundage fight too, that third round, right? He was getting like beaten pretty bad in that fight. Don't think he beat Puna. I don't know, man. Like, not a fan of both guys' styles, but I have to pick someone here. I'm picking Malkoun by decision. I think it goes the distance either way, though. I think this fight goes 3 rounds, pretty sure. And I feel like the value's on the dog. So that's my pick here. What do you think, man?
Yeah, this is like sticky tape against glue, right? I'm going with Jacob Glue Malkoun.
Oh, you too, eh? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like he can make a fight super boring. You know what I mean? He can like 50 minutes dry hump you, keeping you in position, and get the victory. I still feel like the Brendan Allen fight was super close, and he could have got the decision as well. If you look at Maximov's last fight, he lost to Andrei Petrosky, I know. But before that, listen, man, he won, but he struggled in the last round against Cody Brundage back then, He also struggled against Puna, in my opinion, which was also a close fight, but he won. I think Maximov has a lot of talent, as a good talent, but he still has a big learning curve as well, definitely in the stand-up, and his jiu-jitsu is good, but his wrestling can be better, I think. Malkoun, really one-dimensional wrestling. You saw you got to beat him up early, like Phil Haas did. He knocked him out early in the fight. But if you don't, he is like Lou, like he did against AJ Dobson as well. I'm taking Malkoun here. I think he wins a decision. I don't expect a great fight, to be honest. So, yeah, Malkoun decision.
Yeah, we have the same pick there, so that's good. Let's go to the next fight here. We got is it Manny Martinez and Brandon Davis already? Wow.
Yeah.
That was like quick. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's only 11 fights because that Burrito fight dropped off. Okay. All right, Manny Martinez versus Brandon Davis. Odds for this one: Manny Martinez minus 150, Brandon Davis plus 130. I'll start on this one again, bro. I like Manny Martinez in this fight. I think he can finish Brandon Davis. Feel pretty good about him here, guys. He's a cheap favorite. The guy's talented. I know he's not unflawed because we've seen obviously the Guido fight was close, and then the Lawrence fight, that was a crazy fight, right? Like he got dropped, his opponent got dropped. It was an insane fight, but showed some flaws with the takedown defense and obviously getting knocked down. I just don't feel like Brandon Davis has anything for him, man. Like I feel like this guy is not really UFC caliber, honestly. He has not looked good since he came back to the UFC. To be fair to him, obviously he's fought good competition. I'll give him that. But this guy's been in and out of the UFC for a while. I just don't think he's UFC caliber. And I think Manny Martinez can knock him out. I like Manny in this fight, and he's a small favorite, so he's definitely someone I'm looking at for a potential wager. I don't love this card for betting, but this is one that stands out for me. I'm pretty high in this guy, and again, he's fighting a guy I'm not very high on. So, what do you think, man? I like him quite a bit here by knockout. What do you think?
Remember when we said, like, when Manny Martinez fought Guido Cannetti in his debut and won a split decision, it's like, ooh, it's not that impressive to win a split decision by Guido Cannetti. And then Guido is like ferocious in his last couple of fights. Manny Martinez, then he lost to Ronnie Lawrence. But I always want to say Honey Lawrence for some reason. I don't know why. Ronnie Lawrence. And he looked good in the third round. Almost got Ronnie out of there, you know. Brandon Davis. I always like his accent. It's like Brandon Davis from Mississippi, you know. He's a fun fighter, but I don't think he is like UFC caliber kind of fighter, and there's no disrespect to him. I remember he had that amazing fight with Steven Peterson in the Contender Series, you know. Yeah, I think Manny Martinez gets the win. I think he finishes him in the second round, TKO ground and pound.
Yeah, I want to see if there's a problem with this. By the way, the Malkoun by decision, Marcel, is plus 200. We both like that by decision.
Yeah. That's a good prop, yeah.
And I think so. And then this one, Martinez Martinez inside the distance plus 240. That's off because, and again, that's not at every book. That's at Betway right now, right? So like the bigger books like DraftKings, etc., they'll shade those lines a little like during this week. But that right now, I'm looking at that seems off. Actually, in fact, the under 2.5 rounds is plus money. I would hop on that. Someone's getting finished in this fight. I don't see it going 3 rounds in Martinez and Davis. I know Davis is somewhat tough, but showed that he can get knocked out in his last fight, obviously. Anyone can get knocked out. We know that. All right, let's get to the next right here. Misha Cirkunov against Alonzo Menifield. Was this fight rebooked? Am I wrong for thinking that? Or is it?
No, I think Cirkunov was...
did he have another fight booked or something? I thought he did. Or wasn't this for like, what's it called? That card in the summer? Am I wrong? Let me double check.
Are you mistaken for Span, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, he's supposed to fight Gamzatov. That was the guy he was supposed to fight. Misha Cirkunov. Yeah, so that fight fell off, and now he's fighting Alonzo Menifield. And odds for this one, minus 210 Menifield, plus 180 Cirkunov. So what do you think?
Such a difficult fight, dude. You know, many people will say fade Cirkunov, you know, but Cirkunov can still catch him with some crazy submission. You know, he did it before. Yeah. Although Menifield, I think before Cirkunov goes for a submission, Menifield might have knocked him out already. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing you have to think of. What I think about. You know, if Menifield doesn't finish the fight by knockout early, I see Cirkunov submitting him later. I'm still taking Menifield first round knockout. I think that's the way to go. Either first round Menifield or later Cirkunov. You know, and a decision. Who knows? Who knows?
I think Menifield finishes him, man. I feel decent about him here, to be honest with you guys. Like, how do you trust Misha at this point? Like, the guy's just not the same. Menifield, obviously, that guy he fought in the last fight was a joke, right? That fight is hilarious looking back on that Askar, the fraud Askar Maserati Marcel. Like, that guy's a fraud. But man, I mean, like that, it was still an impressive performance. Like overall, he's looked. I know he's had some off nights in the UFC, but he's looked good overall. Whereas Misha, he has looked amazing at times. Obviously, like there's certain times, like the Crude fight, for instance, you look at that, you're like, wow, this guy's talented. But all the finishes, Marcel, and the tournament fight, all these fights, man, I don't trust him anymore. I think Menifield knocks him out. Menifield by knockout. We don't have the odds, but inside the distance is plus money. Again, that's the most likely scenario. Fight, plus money. I don't get it. Like, so that the odds will change when DraftKings and like Caesars and all those big books get it. Probably have to lay a little juice on it, but I think he knocks him out. I feel decent about it. So Yeah, that was the last fight with the Martinez. Like, I'm surprised it's that big plus money for that inside distance. Again, it'll change when the big books get it, guys. Remember that, like, smaller books open in and the big books. Well, I shouldn't say smaller. These are still big books, but you know what I mean. What's up, Hype? How's it going? Menifield chins him. I think so. Menifield first round knockout. I think so. Askar fight aged well. Yeah, sure. All right, let's go to the next one here. Oh, so the Magny fight also fell off the card, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Man, can you believe it, guys? This card lost a bunch of fights.
We only have 4 fights left, dude.
Crazy. I know. That's Dusko Todorovic against Jordan Wright. That's the next fight here. So this fight, obviously in the middleweight division, should be an exciting fight, I think. Dusko is, always in pretty good fights here. Minus 195 for him, plus 165 Jordan Wright. He's always in good fights. And then I'll start off on this one too. I think this fight, someone gets finished, Marcel. I think that's a very fair thing to say.
That's why it's on the main card, probably.
Right? That's why I think it's on the main card, because on paper, like, these guys, it's probably loser leaves town, I would assume, right? I'm leaning towards Dusko because I don't trust Jordan Wright at all. But Jordan can have those fights, like the Pickett fight where he looks amazing, right? So this one is kind of a weird fight, in my opinion. It was also booked kind of late. I don't know like how much training these guys got, but my pick would be a Dusko by TKO because I don't trust Wright's chain at all, and I don't trust anything about him anymore. But at the same time, like, he does have the power to catch Dusko. So kind of an iffy one from a betting perspective, but my pick is Dusko. Maybe the fight doesn't go the distance if odds are good in that. I don't see them right now, but that's something to keep in mind. What do you think, man?
Yeah, so we got Jordan Wright, an action fighter that's finished or getting finished,
Yeah.
And Dusko Todorovic, which have been a big letdown for me, in my opinion, since the Contender Series in the UFC. I always say to Stefan Struve, like, yeah, your little brother is fighting again. So and he's like, watch what you're saying, but you're for Ajax as well, so you're okay. So I'm taking Todorovic, man. I think he has more ways to get the win here. I'm taking him via stoppage TKO first or second round.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think too, man. So I think we're on the same path there. All right. Yeah, I don't see. There's no odds for it yet, unfortunately, for the right fight. But it'll be a lot. Hey Juan, I see you minus 500. Maybe something. It could be something big like that. I think it'll be decently juiced. All right, next fight: Askarov against Brandon Royval. Great fight here in the flyweight division. This one's on the main card, and odds for this one: Askarov minus 240, Royval plus 200. I can't help but feel that's a little high in Askarov, man. Just because Royval's such a great fighter, but I'm definitely picking him here. I don't know where Marcel went, by the way. He's probably just dropped off for a sec, guys. Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely have to pick Askarov because the guy is so solid and well rounded, right? But I think Royval is great too. So look, Askarov 3-2 in the UFC, obviously coming off that really close loss to Kaiker France. Hard to take a lot away from that fight, guys, but he did lose as a big favorite, which is it's always scary. And now you have to back him again at big juice. But Royval, he's looked great lately, but again, he's had these fights where he has been finished. Even in the last fight against Schnell, he got dropped early and then choked him out. It was kind of a weird finish in that fight. And he's got that potential to choke anyone out, right? It's just Askarov is so solid, right, everywhere that he's never obviously been finished. He only has the one loss. But I just think Royval is really good too, and obviously has some advantages here, like the height, reach, southpaw, etc. So wouldn't completely shock me if he did pull it off. Still got to go with Askarov by decision though. Royval opened at plus 235. It's crazy. Yeah, I know that is a little high. Royval finishes or Askarov by decision. I agree with that actually. Marcel just lost connection. Just send me a message, guys. So he'll be back in a second here. Until he comes back, if you guys have any questions, I'll take them for now. I'll take a couple questions here. We only have a couple fights left to talk about in this card. Obviously, we had a bunch of fights drop off. We talked about Joe Anderson Brito earlier. Marcel was saying like he had said on Twitter or something that he has a fight booked, but we don't know who it would be against. And then the other one was Dan Rodriguez and Neil Magny. And that fight's been pushed back until like next month, I want to say. I think it's been added to a card next month. So that's a great fight too. It's unfortunate that fight's off the card. I was kind of leading Magny in that one, guys, but there he is. Hey, Marcel. I was just saying, I was just talking about this fight. I'm picking Askarov by decision. Is that your pick as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think Askarov is overall better than Royval. Royval is still in development, although he's also already a little bit older than many people think, but
Right.
yeah, Askarov is, I would take Askarov decision.
Yeah, fair enough. And I was saying the Magny fight with Rodriguez. I was leaning Magny in that fight. I know it's been rebooked, but that was kind of my lean. Did you have any lean in that one?
I would take Rodriguez probably.
Yeah, I don't blame
But
you. I
I'm
mean,
not
guys
sure.
look good, right? Who should the Charles Islam loser fight? That's a good question. I don't know. Like the loser of Gate or Poirier and Chandler, maybe. Greed over Sean Sheamus. Yeah, I mean, poor Don. He's just being brought in to get destroyed. The poor guy. That last fight was not good. We'll just say that. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Co-main event: Jonathan Martinez, Cup Swanson. Martinez minus 195, Swanson plus 165. Okay, I'll start on this one too. This is the biggest weird toughest fight in the card to pick for me personally. Because I think it's kind of like a what the fuck fight. Like, what am I supposed to expect from Cub at 135, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem here. Like, we have no idea. He's never fought, I don't think, at this weight class before. And now he's, like, really old. He's 39 next month, guys. And he's cutting down to 135 for the first time. And the weird thing is, like, he's doing it off after an amazing fight against Darren Elkins, or amazing knockout, right? Like, you don't see a guy doing that often. I guess he sees a path to the title shot. I mean, I don't know. I feel like 135 is an even harder division right now. Then you fight Jonathan Martinez, the guy who's just really solid everywhere. This is just a hard fight for both guys, I think. I don't know, man. Like, this is a really hard one to call, Marcel, honestly. I'm really struggling on this fight. I guess I want to hear your thoughts before I give my pick, because I'm still kind of thinking about it. I really have no idea. I'm definitely not betting on this fight because I feel like it's hard to pick. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's super hard, man, this one. I feel like we don't know what Cup has to offer at 135. At the same time, Martinez looks good, man. I know he got stopped by Davy Grant. The Cirkunov loss has been way too long ago, was his debut, and he got screwed in the Andre Ewell fight. So it's like he's on a pretty nice streak. He looks good. He looked good against Vince Morales in his last fight. Um, I feel like I have to go with Jonathan Martinez still, although I really respect Cup and I think he can win the fight. But if I have to go with my mind pick, I would go with Martinez. And I think it will be, I don't think he finishes him. As I think it's going to be a close fight. But I'm thinking Jonathan Martinez by unanimous decision, getting it done after 3 rounds.
This fight's so hard to pick. I'm leaning toward. I guess I'll have to pick Martinez too. He is the younger fighter, obviously by 11 years. You guys know I usually pick the younger guy. I just don't know what to think of a Cub at 135. But I do think he's a live dog, right? Would you be shocked if Cub knocked him out? Would you be shocked?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, man, Cup still has the quality to win these kind of fights, but we have to see how he does at 135. And the thing is, Martinez is one of the underrated guys at 135, I think. He's not ranked, not I don't think anybody will probably call him out right now because
Right.
he's on a nice streak. He's like for most ranked guys, he's like a high risk, low reward fight. And also for unranked guys. So yeah, I think Martinez here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cup wins. It's a close fight. And it's actually lots of respect to Cup as well. He's switching weight classes so late in his career, and he's fighting actually a really talented guy, and we're still like this can go either way. So
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. That's a good point. All right, I think. Let me look at the comments, guys. They like under. Maybe. Martinez is too fast for Cub. Probably. Lee Martinez, but it's too sketchy to play. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I would lean Martinez, but I don't know, guys. It's a weird fight. Like, it's better just to watch and learn on this one and see how good Cub looks at 135. All right, last fight here, main event: Alexa Grasso against Viviane Araujo. I mean, on this card, it's probably the most meaningful fight, so I get it. But they couldn't have found a better main event for the UFC fight night. Come on, minus 200 Grasso, plus 170 Araujo. And, Marcel, very close fight here again. I think it's going the distance. Almost assuredly going the distance. You got to lean Grasso, I think, because obviously the age, she's shown significant improvements in the last couple of fights at 125. Looks better in this weight division, right? But Araujo's very underrated too. Obviously, she look great in the UFC. Other than the I fight where I miss weight because I thought she'd beat Chukagian, she's, hasn't lost. So she's very good. But again, Grasso's been like a top prospect for a while. It seems like she's breaking out of her shell. Gotta go Grasso by decision here. What do you think?
I think it's stupid matchmaking by the UFC, because you let 2 women fight who haven't fought Valentina yet, and you pretty much cancel one of the two to get to a title fight here. I think will be a close fight. I really like Araujo, what I saw so far in the UFC, besides that Jessica I fight.
Yep.
I also think she won against Chukagian and didn't get the decision. Grasso has showed really improvement since she's been to flyweight, man. She's been undefeated at flyweight, 3 wins, looked good against Macy Barber, and she submitted Joanne Wood, and I think was her first submission ever in MMA. I slightly leaning towards Grasso, but I'm far from sure, dude. I think can go either way. I see split decision in this fight. I think lots of stand up. Both girls are very, very decent strikers, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm picking Grasso here, but I'm not sure. Far from sure, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We got some comments here. Brady and Bilal have could have been this card's main event. Ugh. Does anyone really watch Bilal Muhammad fight for 5 rounds? I mean, I legit don't. You mean Araujo, the underdog? She could win. Grasso by KO. Maybe I'm leaning a decision. You said decision too, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, close.
That's what I
decision.
think. I think it'll be a close kind of fight too. But Araujo with the upset, maybe she's good.
Would it really be? Yeah, she's underdog. But would it really be an upset? I think it's that.
Yeah, I mean the
close.
odds she's plus 170, right? So it'd be an upset.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an upset for me.
Fair enough. To me, you're right. It's a competitive fight, but I do lean towards Grasso for sure. So to me, it would be a bit of an upset if Araujo won. I wouldn't be like shocked. I wouldn't like be like, oh my god, that's the upset of the century. I would never say that, right? But like I would be somewhat. I wouldn't even say surprised. I just think it's like Grasso is the favorite here, with a slight possibility of Araujo winning that by decision. Appreciate it, man. I thought you might have been talking about us saying we're sharp, but wasn't 100% sure. I guess you're talking about this comment from Marcus. Enjoying the show this morning. Excellent analysis breakdowns by Adam Marcel. Keep up good work. Appreciate it, man. It is pretty early for me, but like I said, I want to get this podcast out of the way, guys, because it's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. So pretty busy right now this weekend. But there, again, a lot of football today, so I know you guys are going to watch that later. All right, so that's it for UFC Vegas 62 preview. I just wanted to get this one comment. 8 Loco, did you watch the Blue Jays game yesterday? Oh my god, I did. Dude, are you so Marcel? I don't know if you watch baseball or whatever, but the Jays, like that's our team, right, from Toronto, and dude, we were up 8-1 and lost the game 10-9.
I heard about it.
How the fuck did that happen? That's just. I feel like because I play a lot of sports too, and one thing you can't do is you can't look ahead to the next game until you've won the game. And I feel like they might have did that. I feel like when they went up by that much, I think everyone was feeling that way. They're like, all right, we're going to the next game. It's kind of like there was this huge upset a few years ago. The Leafs were playing Boston Bruins. They were up, I think, 3-1 in the series and ended up losing the series or something. Like, felt the same way. Like, we were just like, all right, we're going to the next round. But, like, it's not like that, especially in baseball. Like, anything can happen, really, right? Like, one bad relief appearance by one of our pitchers, like, cost us the game. So, is what it is. All right. Go ahead.
The same thing with my team, dude. On Tuesday, my team got lost 6-1 home game. I mean, it was our biggest loss ever in European football. I mean, was so bad. Coach didn't do shit. It was really like bad. It was even, I'm a huge fan of them, but it was so bad that even sometimes I was laughing about like embarrassment how bad it was, and sometimes so we kind of like we are both kind of in the, how do you say that, in the mud here with that kind of stuff. But yeah, whatever, it happens sometimes, right? But I heard it as well that you guys were leading 8-1 because when I always watch the sport news on ESPN. It's the Dutch ESPN, and the anchor was saying like they're the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're leading 8-1, but it isn't over. Anything can still happen. He said.
Anything can happen, man. We know this too. That's the thing. We know this. It's sports, right? It's sports, Mark. It's like fighting, right? Like, who's been in? Anyway, I'll never forget that fight because honestly, Marcel, I was sitting in my bed and I watched the sport for long enough to know that a fight's never over. But you think that the best pound for pound fighter in the world can survive one more minute, and no, anything can happen in the sport. Anything can happen in sports. So I'm not surprised the Jays lost in general, guys. Like, I'm really not. But the way they lost, being up, because I was looking at the live betting odds, Marcel. The Mariners were plus 2,000 in the live betting odds. So if you put 100, you would have won 2,000 on them. Imagine you put like $1,000 on them. You would have won like 20 grand, like to think they would have that comeback. But no one would have ever expected that. I don't think. Like, I'd imagine that Mariners fans or people who had money on them were just like, all right, we lost, and then they fucking won. Dude, I can't even imagine. Like, our buddy Cole went down to the game, and he must have just felt awful because, that's just a brutal loss. Just sucks the energy out of everyone. I'll get a couple comments here, guys. Go ahead.
I want to give a shout out to Cole. He had a great
yes, we got to talk about this. Let's talk about it quickly, Marcel. So Cole broke a crazy story, guys, with the Fernand Lopez and Ali Abdelaziz. There's like a audio clip that Fernand sent him, and he exposed basically Ali for being a jerk. But also, like, they're on the call, Ali basically says that he controls MMA fighting.com and that he tells them what to post and stuff. So there's this like big controversy now, and I know that I don't think they're thrilled about that the article got out there, but I don't think Cole did anything wrong because like he didn't like accuse them of anything. Fernand Lopez had the audio clip of Ali saying it.
Yeah.
Ali's the one who should be in trouble here, not Cole or whoever. So I don't know. Any thoughts on this, Marcel? Because it was pretty crazy, right?
I saw Damon Martin reply to it from MMA Fighting, and he's like, "We put out an article. What are you talking about, or something?" But it's like, listen, guys, I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to name and shame, but there are people who get stuff from Ali and Ali used them as a pawn in the industry and put things out that aren't actually been done or actually been happening. Like, for example, fight announcements, certain stuff, he feeds them to media and the media puts them out, but don't check it with the other side. And then they put it out, and then it's like it's not done yet, but there's pressure on the other side. So they get used as a pawn. It happens. And I'm not going to say any names. You can fill in the blanks. But yeah, what can you say? I mean, it's just a stupid situation, right? I mean, Slim is on a contract with Fernand Lopez, with Ares. Uh,
Yep.
Goes to Ali. Ali signs him. It's also a big wrong by Slim here. You know what I mean? He should have been open about it to Fernand Lopez. And Fernand gets now like people gotta hate on him because of the thing that happened with Francis Ngannou and that kind of stuff, and that he's bad. Listen, man, I don't say he was right at all with the Francis Ngannou stuff. I don't know for exactly what happened, but to blame it all on him is also a little bit much. I think there goes two ways, and I think if you want to blame somebody, you gotta look at both ways and gotta pretty much try to be neutral in your how do you say that, in your articles and in your tweets and whatever you're trying to do. I think Cole did well. Um, he just showed how you have to do it, and he was open in his article. He even got the voice clip, like Adam said. So what you want to have more, right?
No, I agree. Cole Shug 91, I believe, isn't it? I think that's what it is.
If you get Cole Shelton on, you get him immediately, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Cole. He's a good guy. He's a good friend of ours, and like I think he did a good job with the story. Like
yeah.
I know MMA Fighting's not happy about it though. I'll tell you that right now because obviously they got named in it, and Damon got outed right for being like in Ali's pocket allegedly. Man, it would suck if we were in that situation too. But at the same time, like you can't put yourself in that situation, right?
Adam, and Cole actually did it nice. I think he wrote MMA Fighting. He didn't wrote Damon Martin, but
you have to listen
Ali said Damon Martin.
Ali's the one who said that for sure. Like Cole's in a tough spot here, right? Because he doesn't want to obviously upset other journalists. Like we don't want to do that, but there's a story here, right? It's a pretty big story, to be honest with you. Let me get some comments about this, guys, because this was a really good report. There must have been, hey, what's up, Glenn? There must have been blatant focus on Ali Abdelaziz fighters by the media. No doubt he plays the media. Piss him off, he moves access. I don't think that's it's name one specific member surprising. Must be something there. I don't think it surprises anyone that Ali, has a lot of he definitely has that ability to control the narrative somewhat because he can tell you and we know our friend James, he's very open about this that he can't interview his guys, right? Because I don't really know what happened. He just pissed him. Ali's just pissed at him for some reason. I've talked to James. I don't think he really did anything. Ali's just kind of not the nicest guy, right? So
it's so stupid, as well, because James has a huge platform, right?
I know it's screwing his fighters.
And James is one of the nicest people you can talk to, I think, because he's not in it to lure you into something to get beef or to instigate stuff. He's just interviewing. So I don't understand that really, And also, if I was managed by Ali and he was telling me you don't go on that, I was like, dude, you're managing me. You don't tell me what I have to do or what not. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say I'm going on. There are actually fighters from Ali who are going to Ariel or going to James if they wanted themselves. They just say I can decide it for myself. But I don't understand these guys who are with the management and then saying no, you have to go to my manager, and if he doesn't want it, I'm not doing it. I was like, dude, you can decide that shit for yourself. If you have the money thing and that kind of stuff, and how it go, I understand that, But some things you gotta. I mean, it hurts the fighters more than it does them benefit, in my opinion. But hey, who am I?
Absolutely, I agree with that. We can see if there's a couple more comments here. I heard Malky owns MMAOB. No, I like Malky though. Me and Malky are cool, but I like for me, I don't like interview guys anymore, so like I don't care about my relationship with these managers that much. But me now, me and Malky talk on Twitter sometimes. I have no issue with him. Hoping Imral pulls out so Shavkat can main event. Yeah, that fight. Jeff Neal's fighting Shavkat, which is a great fight. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, you want to talk about this? Uberim and Hari. How good was this fight? Because I know it went the distance, I believe, and Uberim won the decision, right?
Yeah, so the first round, I think Overeem was very pressuring Hari, but Hari landed a big shot on him, and he a little bit wobbled him, not a lot,
Right.
but Hari won the first round. Second round, I thought Overeem did a little bit better, um, but they still gave it to Hari, 4 out of 5 judges, so it was like 2018 going into the third round, and then Ali knocked him down twice. So he won that round, I think 10-7. So he still won the fight. I think he deserved to win the fight. Yeah, what can you say about it? Ari hasn't won since 2015. Although he's a kickboxing legend to me, I think he the thing is he never won like the big K1 tournament, which he should have, I think, but he didn't. Never became a glory champion. Um, what can you say? He's a legend. And he was saying like he's thinking about how do you say it, retiring. He wasn't sure yet, so we will see. And for Overeem, we're probably gonna fight Rico Verhoeven next year because Rico has that weird hit show that he like organizing himself where he's gonna fight Hasdy Gerges next month. But yeah, that's it. I think Overeem will fight for the title next year against Verhoeven.
There you go from Marcel. You guys celebrate lost more than Gilbert Burns. Feels like he's the world pre for not getting mauled by Kamzat. He hasn't fought since then. I mean, I feel like he took quite a bit of damage in the fight, guys. I mean, he hasn't fought since then, right? It was April. That was 6 months ago. Crazy. The time goes by fucking fast, man. Thoughts of UFC creating a new weight class 220 for Jailton weight class. Yeah, it's like 195 where they call that Franklin weight, I believe. Remember Rich Franklin? Or like
Yeah.
Rumble weight. Well, Rumble weight's like whatever you come in at.
Yeah, Rumble weight.
Yeah, Jailton's fighting. Who's his new opponent again? He's
Maxim
fighting Maxim
Grishin.
Grishin. I went at 220. It's a catch weight.
It's a tougher fight than Shamil. Yeah,
I think it's a harder fight too, right? Wouldn't you say? I know that this guy's not ranked, Christian, but he also got screwed again by Philippe Lins pulls out of so many fights. Like they should just cut that dude, man. He just pulls out of every fight. You guys think you should do one pay-per-view a year with 3 title fights? I mean, their business model is to do one a month. I don't think we like it as fans because we have to pay for it, but or you could, there's ways to not pay for it, but you know what I mean. Which Deal and Shavkat was the main event. Yeah, Wonder Boy and Holland's a good fight too. I think they just gave Holland like a bone basically because he did that fight on short notice, right? They're like, okay, we'll give you a main event. It's obviously more money for a main event too. So
I got really angry, with these bookings for the Apex shows. Like Damir Ismagulov against Ahmad Sarukian in the
yeah,
Apex, Shavkat against Neil in the Apex. Like, what are we doing, And you put some weird ass fights you put in front of the audience. Like nobody really wants to see those fights, some of them, So it's just annoying to me. I can name some of them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disrespect these fighters, but there are some fights that we really don't need in front of an audience. We really don't need on a pay-per-view card. We really don't need on the Orlando card or whatever, And then you put like the mirror against Arman. You put that on an Apex card. It's just stupid.
I agree.
It's really
I agree
stupid.
with that. I completely agree with that. Might will pull out. How to cut him? I don't know. Probably. I don't mind cutting this guy. The guy's.
It's
I don't like him.
he
I
was
agree with
injured
John too.
probably.
By the way, that fight should have been in front of fans, like you said. Go ahead.
Well, he was injured. Shamil was injured.
I'm tired of Chanel personally. The guy's always
Just
hurt.
saying.
No, I know. I think the biggest loser all this Slim. Ali's the nicest guy. I don't know if Fernand. Ali cleared to play strong arm. Fernand Slim pays the most for it. It's true.
I want to reply to that because I think as a fighter you have your own say and stuff as well, And apparently, if you are under contract with a manager, you cannot sign with another management. You know what I mean? And he did that. He pretty much. I think Mick Maynard asked who is your manager, and he said Ali. Well, Fernand still is his manager. It's just stupid,
Right.
If you want to go to another management, you still have to handle your stuff with that management you are first before you sign with that other management. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
know what
I
you're
think
saying.
that's also to blame for Slim there.
No, I get it. That collision was crazy last night, Joe. Also, yeah, Joe, congrats, man. Your Phillies made it through. I thought Cardinals would win that one too. So right now I'm 1 for 2 my predictions for the series. Got the Mets tonight, but it's hard to trust them too. Get away from the apex completely, hopefully, but because it's better with fans. Wonder we're going to drop the gloves after the fight, possibly. Like especially if Holland loses again. He might do that again. All right, we're going to end this show, guys. Really appreciate everyone joining in. We're going to start just a short podcast. If you guys want to tune in, we're going to do some fight announcements. It'll be a short one, like 15, 20 minutes. But Marcel, quickly plug your stuff. Let's get out of here, and then we'll do the next show. Again, it's optional, guys. No preview, but we'll do some fight announcements. Go ahead, Marcel. Plug your stuff.
Yeah, it's still Big Marcel 24 on Twitter and Instagram. Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section for the Dutch articles.
I'm Adam Martin on Twitter, podcast, MMAOBdaily.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, guys. Bookies.com got my best bets coming out this week for this card, and then Miami News for some news. Next Monday will be at 5 p.m. Eastern again. We'll be back to normal next Monday, so that would be October 17th, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll be breaking down UFC 280 then. Someone asked about that. That's what we'll be doing for that card, so I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, guys, we'll see you later. If you want, you can join the second podcast today. We'll do some fight announcements, and that's about it. So appreciate everyone talking to us today in the chat. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.